The Ukraine is hit by another wave of Russian shelling, knocking out electricity in some areas and forcing Kyiv to declare emergency power shutdowns across the country. Local officials say critical infrastructure was targeted, knocking out power for millions of people. Strikes were reported in the eastern region of Kharkiv, the Black Sea region of Odessa, as well as Vinnytsia in the west. The mayor of Kharkiv says the city is entirely without electricity. Several other cities, including Kyiv and Sumy, also reporting power outages. A number of railway lines also affected. At least 3 explosions were heard in the capital, Kyiv. Plumes of dark smoke blanketed the city's central districts. Authorities say both power and water supplies have been hit. Metro services also suspended. Stations have been converted to temporary shelters for residents. Ukrainian defense chiefs had predicted Russia would launch a new offensive early next year in an attempt to take the capital, Kyiv, once more. This comes as Western allies stepped up their support with additional funding and military training. Meanwhile, Russian-installed officials in Luhansk have also reported civilian casualties caused by Ukrainian shelling. This left 8 people dead and nearly 24 injured. And for more, we have Sarah Coates joining us live from Kyiv. Sarah, more Russian strikes across Ukraine today. What is the situation on the ground?
Hello there, Wei Su. Look, it's absolutely devastating. As you mentioned, this real fresh, brutal Russian barrage early this morning, waking people from their sleep. Air raid sirens going off around the entire country. Now, we are here in the capital, Kyiv. We woke up to these sirens, and then around 20 minutes or so later, huge explosions in the sky. Now, what we can tell you is around 40 missiles were shot into the capital. Thankfully for Ukraine's defence system, it shot down around 35 of those missiles, but some indeed did make it through. Now, they have hit critical power infrastructure and water pumping stations. I even just got a note under my hotel room door just a short while ago saying, please be very careful with the way that you use water. We're currently using our reserves, and we are hearing that water trucks are being deployed right around the city. Now, as we speak, people are still, sheltering, fearing another wave of potential Russian attacks. We've seen metro stations packed full of people, and I'm sure you can see just behind me the conditions that these people are facing. It is absolutely freezing. We are expecting temperatures to drop down to around -8 degrees tomorrow. So you can certainly imagine that, having no power to heat yourselves and no water, that is, being sort of spoken about, that we could be facing a potential humanitarian crisis here on the ground. That was only a few days ago, Wei Su, that it was estimated around 50% of the country's critical infrastructure had been damaged, but that is certainly, set to rise. Now, we've seen critical infrastructure damaged up in the southeast of the country there in Kharkiv. Also, residential buildings there hit. And we do know right now in Kryvyi Rih, there's been another residential building really badly damaged. Rescue teams are on site right now, digging through the rubble. We can confirm there have been at least 2 fatalities, a number of other people injured, including children.
Also, this attack that you have faced in Kyiv, that correlates with what Ukrainian defense chiefs have warned of another attempt by Russia to take Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, starting possibly early next year. Any verification and clarity on this?
Yeah, look, this is certainly very, very concerning. As you mentioned, Ukrainian authorities do believe this threat is very, very real. What we're seeing now is Russia training around 300,000 more troops. Now, this training for them takes around 3 months. They should be ready to go by around February. This is when these predictions are expected to happen. Now, also something that's very, very alarming is we are hearing that Vladimir Putin, he is planning to travel to Minsk on the 19th of this month to meet there with Alexander Lukashenko. And over the last few days, we've really seen a mobilization of troops there in Belarus. We've seen Russian and Belarusian troops heading down south with these military operations, these training operations being conducted. So, this is certainly very, very concerning. We saw Russia try and take the capital back in February when this war began. It was obviously unsuccessful, but we are hearing now, due to these major losses, that Russia could be attempting to try this again. So this is certainly something that is highly concerning and that we will be watching very, very carefully.
And thank you, Sarah Coates, for bringing that to us, reporting from the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv.